Ladies, gentlemen, good afternoon. الحقيقة it's a real honor and a real pleasure for us to be hosting today in Cairo the Choiseul 100 Africa delegation. As Ms. Sylvia Menassa and as our chairman, Mr. Ermias kindly said in their introduction, the group that we have today visiting represent some of the best and brightest that our continent has to offer. A group of emerging business and economic leaders from around the continent, selected under the age of 40 by the Institut Choiseul in Paris. I had the honor of being selected on the Choiseul 100 Africa list in 2014, and a number of other Egyptians were, in particular, Mr. Bassel El-Bez, chairman of Carbon Holding, who together with Qalaa, have had the pleasure of encouraging the Institut Choiseul to host this event in Cairo, but also Mrs. Rania Al-Mashat, Mrs. Minouche Abdelmegid, and a number of other young Egyptians. The purpose of today's session is really intended as a networking event. And accordingly, the suggested format with which we'll proceed is one where each one of the panelists will take 5 minutes to share a perspective on their part about the opportunities and challenges associated with doing business in Africa. What, based on their personal experiences, what have been success stories, what have been some challenges, so exchange some thoughts around that. After which we'll open this for a Q&A discussion. And after the Q&A discussion, we want to leave some time, really, we'll step down as panelists, and we want to encourage all of you to mingle. Today, the intent of this session, and I'd like to once again thank the American Chamber of Commerce in Egypt and the Egyptian Federation of Industries for bringing this together, but the intent of this session was really to capitalize on the visit of this delegation to create linkages and bonds between Egyptian business leaders and their counterparts from around the continent who are with us here in this room. On that note, allow me to introduce a couple of the panelists, and I'll then leave the floor to Mr. Tawfik. On my left is Ms. Carole Kariuki. Ms. Kariuki is from Kenya, where she heads the private sector, the Kenyan Private Sector Alliance, which is in some ways similar to the Egyptian Federation of Industries and the American Chamber of Commerce. So again, it's a grouping of local Kenyan businesses. She's has an extremely impressive CV. She is a graduate. She has an MBA from the University of Chicago, from the Booth School of Business. She's also been to, she also holds degrees from the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, and more that I forget. And on Mr. Tawfik's right, from Ethiopia, is Mr. Ermias Eshetu, who chairs the Ethiopian Commodity Exchange. And he'll talk a little bit more about that. And his background is as a co-founder of Zemen Bank, one of Ethiopia's leading banks, which he co-founded and the growth of which we led. Truly a pleasure to have on the panel these two Choiseul 100 Africa laureates. And Tarek, I'll leave it to you to introduce the rest of the panelists.
Before, ladies and gentlemen, before I start the introduction of our African colleagues, I just want to mention quickly a brief on the Federation of Egyptian Industries, which employs more than 7,000 employees or workers in the Egyptian economy and is constituted of almost 65,000 establishments that are registered.